I'm 26 races down, only 7 more to go. Those are the very quick playoffs for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. You can call it a lightning round if you want to. And going into it, Steve, these are the reset points with John Hunter Nemechek on the strength of 6 wins leading the way.
Well, you mentioned Nemechek, Austin Hill, the regular season champ, right there in second. And Allgaier, they have a little bit of an advantage, but to me, 4th to 12th is so jam-packed at a track where things can happen in a blink. This entire standing could get turned upside down.
These 12 playoff drivers will, of course, be racing around others who are not in the playoffs, including someone we're kind of familiar with, Kyle Petty. He has raced here many times before, and tonight he races for the first time since April of last year at Martinsville.
Wow. Listen, I don't – it amazes me that you picked Bristol, okay, to come back to. But this has got to be cool for Dale Jr. To come back to a place that you truly love, to come back to a place that you enjoy driving. It's like a game of golf for Steve Letarte here. It's just an enjoyable afternoon, and that's the way he's approaching it. So go out and do the best you can. It's got to be fun for some of these younger drivers to say at some point in time, hey, I got to race against Dale Jr. That's a check on the bucket list.
Window net going up on the 88. Junior and the rest of the drivers will go practicing in the first group in just a little bit. We got to tell you some news, though, with some weather approaching tomorrow that we know about. They want to get all 500 laps in for the Cup Series. So there's been a time change. The playoff race from Bristol for the Cup Series will be at 6:30 Eastern on USA. The green flag will fly promptly at 6:35. We'll get started with Xfinity Series practice when we come back to Bristol. Xfinity cars rolling at Bristol. Group A. They'll split into 2 groups before they go qualifying here and get 15 or so minutes on track and try to figure this place out, Steve, with 16-second laps.
Yeah, it happens in a hurry. The big challenge also with this concrete surface is here in practice, we're going to see him run right around the bottom. It's very, very dark around the bottom from the truck race. And the question is, you know, is that where they'll race? They spray some sticky stuff on the bottom to try to get that to be the preferred lane early because this was right around the top, a little single file. But now you got to kind of, you know, get your car good, Kyle, but understand you may move.
Oh, yeah, that one just moved. That one just – and, you know, watching the truck race last night, they never came off the bottom, really. You know, the top never came in the way you thought it was. So it's going to be interesting, as you say, to see as the day goes and as we get into the race tonight where the groove and where they're able to run.
That was Joe Graff in the 38 who got a little bit out of shape. Kyle, describe it for us. Going around here, you were telling me earlier this morning, you got 4 seconds here, 4 seconds here, 4 seconds here. So it's fast.
Yeah, it's 4 seconds on the straight, 4 seconds in 1 and 2, 4 seconds down the backstretch, 4 and 3 and 4, and that's your 16 seconds. The thing is, when you first go out, it takes your breath away. How many times, Steve, did you see a driver come in and just breathing when they come in? But the more you run and the more laps you run, everything slows down for you. You get in that zone. You get in a groove. And it's fascinating how you can run this fast, but things that go on in the car and things that you do, your input to the car, begins to slow down a little bit. So it's different. These early laps are important just to get that scare factor out of the way and to get your breath and then go out and figure out what your car is doing.
Connor Mozak in the 24. They're one of 7 drivers making their first Xfinity Series start here, and there is Dale Earnhardt Jr. Few nerves for him, Steve, you think?
Well, for sure. Listen, he loves racing. I know he misses it, picks a couple races each year, or at least 1 race each year, and he picked Bristol. When he told us, I was trying to be positive. I was like, man, you sure you want to do that? And then today he put on our group text. He goes, you know, I think I might be the oldest driver in the field. And I said, man, I hate to tell you, but you're the only driver in the 40s. And he's 48.
Yeah, that's not a might be.
He didn't even, but he literally kind of called me out. He was like, are you sure? I'm like, man, I'm sorry, but those are facts.
And listen, all these other guys are in race shape and in the rhythm of what the season is, in the rhythm. He's been up here in the booth, and you're asking him to jump in one of these cars. He's got enough laps around here that he's not going to be far off. He picks it up right off the bat. But at the same time, man, it's got to be a thrill to come back and not run a place for a year or 2 or whatever and then jump back in the car.
He's got some good muscle memory from his days in the Cup Series, including 2004. Went to Victory Lane here, and we watch him practice down there. There's that old Bud car, Steve.
He was. It's Bristol, baby. That was the quote. This place is just, he loves the sport, and it's unlike anything else, right? It has its place in history. It has its place on the schedule. It never gets old. When you drive down, was that 1941, you come over that last rolling hill and you see this track standing on top of a mountain, it's not real. It's hard to believe it's real. I love riding with somebody who's never got to experience that for the first time, to see kind of what they think. But I agree with you, Kyle. He's going to be just fine. Yeah. He's going to figure it out right away. And it's interesting you bring that up. I guess I forget that way because we hang out with Junior so much. But for these other drivers to get a chance to say, hey, I raced with him. We saw him and Josh Williams cutting it up after a start last year. And different guys in the field, I think, have a great time running against him.
He'll have to qualify that car, and a driver who is in the show based on his participation this year is Riley Herbst. Unfortunately, he won't be in the playoffs. Kansas was a cutoff line for him, and the rest of the drivers trying to make it in, and it just didn't work out for Riley.
Yeah, just too many issues for the season. I mean, he has the playoff level speed, in my opinion, but he didn't win a race, and it's all about winning. And there was this chunk, really, from about race 6 at Coda all the way through about race 14 at Sonoma in the early summer where, man, you know, 10th, 23rd, 30th, 23rd, 21st. I mean, those are just not where this car runs, and that's what you have to avoid.
Yeah, there were places where he could do no right, and then when he got right, there were things that the team didn't do right, that mechanically that kind of set him back.
Let's welcome in Dylan Welch. Dylan, tell us more about Riley today.
Well, all of those things that KP and Steve just said are exactly what Riley reiterated to me just a little bit ago. He said, we just need to clean everything up, myself included, the team included, but we feel like we should be in the playoffs based on speed, so just the fact that we aren't kind of gives us something to prove. So he said we obviously want to be there, but the pressure of trying to make the playoffs, the pressure of being in the playoffs is off our shoulders. We're just going to go out and race and try and prove that maybe next year we can be back in the playoffs. We certainly feel like we deserve it this year.
And Dylan, it's a great way to get a couple of trophies here in the Xfinity Series. We'll see what they can do. Patrick Emmerling is going to have his car worked on just a bit after this in turn 3. Ooh.
Wow. That thing looked like it just took off to the right for whatever reason.
So red flag out now. Clock continues. The first group practicing at Bristol. Green flag is back out at Bristol for the Xfinity Series. Big weekend of racing from the hills of Tennessee on USA. Here you see Cup practice and qualifying will follow us up here. Then tonight, countdown to green starts at 7, followed by the 300 lapper for these Xfinity Series drivers. And of course, tomorrow, the Cup Series playoffs continue. Green flag time change. Make a note of it. It's going to be 6:35 for the green flag. We're going to pop on the air about 6:30, give you a quick setup before they go green. Again, time change for tomorrow, 6:30 on USA.
I think that's a great move, right? The weather, they claim there's some potential showers coming in later tomorrow night. So the hills are kind of filled with campers. People have come to Bristol. Let's go ahead and give them as much as the night race. Hopefully all 500 laps, but a little bit of time shift in the green flag. Mozak currently fastest. Sieg second. Dale Jr. right here fourth on fast time. I was watching his car. It looks like, you know, he's such a rhythm driver after working with him for all those years. Everybody wants to, oh, well, you know, what are their strengths? His strengths are he can run the same lap after lap after lap. Like, that's where he is such an efficient driver. That's why when you look at a place like Bristol, we talk about how tough it is, but if you are a rhythm driver and you can kind of get in a rhythm, it really helps. Now, the problem is this is only half the field because there's 2 different groups and you see all the traffic. So when you put 38 of them out there, it's hard to stay in a rhythm because there's traffic all over.
But a driver like Dale Jr. understands the subtleties of what Bristol is. And just as he comes up off the corner and sees somebody going in 3, he'll judge his speed on a straightaway to make sure he catches that traffic in the right place. That's where young drivers don't understand that. They just run up on somebody and stop and then figure out a way to pass them. Experienced drivers will set that guy up from a lap or 2 out. And that's that rhythm part. You understand the rhythm of what you need to do coming up off the corner and getting in the corner.
Joe Graff Jr. getting a little bit of rhythm in his life here after an early wiggle on track. Steve, I guess my question would be, so for the rhythm driver, what breaks that up, and then how do you get him back?
Well, you know, what breaks that up is traffic, a moment, an ill-handling car. You know, when you have a car so close to the edge that you just can't settle in and make, you know, kind of a rhythm of it, that's what really ruins the night for a guy that likes lap after lap consistency.
Dylan Welch.
So Kyle Weatherman, you see him on the screen driving for Johnny Davis Motorsports. Talk about him a few times throughout the year. Has a couple top 15 runs on road courses this year. He does a lot of the simulator work for some of the Chevrolet teams here in the Xfinity Series. He was on the simulator this morning turning laps. So talk about taking what you learn and applying it right away. He's getting to do that here, learning or taking what he learned on the simulator and translating it right away onto the racetrack. By the way, veteran crew chief Jerry Baxter, who has experience in all three of NASCAR's National Series, been brought on board this team this week just to kind of provide some guidance and a little bit of stability from the setup perspective for this team. And so far, so good for the 4-car.
Yeah, Dylan reports on him. Kyle, he's one of those guys that every once in a while makes us go, hey, look at Kyle. Yeah. Look at Kyle Weatherman.
Yeah, he's a solid little driver. And let me say this. The simulation thing totally fascinates me because we used to come from Talladega and then they throw you into Bristol. And you just had to get used to it that first time out. These guys can do the simulation during the week. They can get the track in their head. They can get the bumps in their head. They understand. Even though it's simulation, it's not actually being in a race car, you already begin to get in the rhythm that we talk about and begin to understand what it takes to race at Bristol early in the week. So you don't just prepare like we used to on a Friday morning and then race on a Saturday night. You get to get in that groove and get into that mindset all week long.
Good to see Jeffrey Earnhardt in this 45. Started the season very consistently in these races. But here in the second half, it's kind of been a little bit more hit or miss. He wasn't at Kansas or Darlington, so returning to the seat here as he runs down the 6 of Brendan Poole in front of him. Brendan's another driver. Missed a couple races. There's a 24. Connor Mozak, who's currently fastest.
Steve, this just happened. Remember, it's his first time racing an Xfinity car at Bristol.
Ooh. So that's a big slide and that's pretty good because, some tracks, Charlotte, big tracks, I would say just spin it to the inside, go through the grass. Hopefully grass doesn't do any damage. There's nowhere to spin here without hitting something. So the team going to work, looking at the right front, making sure there's no damage. We already saw one mechanical issue bring out a yellow, and that's really your concern here is so much vertical load. The banking is so steep. The right front specifically gets a ton of load.
Looking at Stephen Parsons here, and also you're looking at the clock on the upper left there. Just over a minute and a half remaining for Group A, and then Group B, the other half of the field will come out, and then they'll get 2 laps apiece for qualifying here at the half mile.
See right there, best career finish has been here. His dad was phenomenal at this place. Phil could get in anything and run well here. I remember when he won here in that Skoal car and what was the Busch Series at the time and stuff. He just wore these guys out. So he's done a great job. Stefan has done a great job in this car at different times this year.
Yeah, grinders, him and his dad. They're both kind of that blue-collar grinder. SoCal on the hood. We see SoCal on a lot of cars that Stefan's in. It's great that he has a partner that can bring some finance and give him more seat time. I always feel like, it's very hard to judge equipment because, just be frank, it's not the same front to back. There are budget constraints throughout this field. Now, there's budget constraints for everyone. Even the biggest teams have to make decisions on where they spend their money. But the more money you have, the less decisions you have to make. Yeah. When you get towards the middle of the field, you really have to make tighter decisions. And I think Stefan kind of runs a little higher than I expect the equipment he's sitting in to run.
It's a great point. Great point.
Josh Bilicka will be in the 91 car this week for DGM Racing. That's Mario Goslin's group. Josh running the Cup Series as well. I think same story here with Josh. Gets a lot out of that equipment when he runs it. Comes from road courses primarily, but does a great job on the ovals too.
Well, that's where we normally see him, right? Yeah. He runs speedways and road courses. I think the other kind of non-traditional type start I'm gonna have to go all the way back early in the year. I think it was race 3 at Las Vegas, right? So it was interesting to see him entered. I didn't think this would be a track he would have circled. And
checkers
just like that,
on
it's
Josh's
over.
car, and checkers are out right here, red and black. We'll go to the next group when we come back here at Bristol.
Congratulations, buddy.
Wow, you're the man.
Awesome highlights from the 2023 season in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and we're going to see more this evening. You'll notice 7 o'clock countdown to green for the Xfinity Series, and the race after that 300 laps. Of course, Cup practice and qualifying coming up right after this. And then tomorrow, the playoffs begin at 6:30 new time, 6:30 in the evening on USA, and the green flag flies promptly at 6:35. That is the red flag, unfortunately, for Jeb Burton.
Yeah, playoff driver. We talked to all the playoff drivers this week, and everyone said basically the same talking point. Smooth, simple, no issues. I mean, you could say it a different way, but that's what they wanted for race 1. And for the 27, this is not how you want to start the playoffs. I couldn't tell how much damage it was, but when we looked at it from the right side, that right front has made some heavy, heavy contact. Carrying an onboard camera, looking back at the driver right here. Let's see what happens, KP.
Yeah, it just comes up off the bottom. It's like
Emmerling did.
Emmerling in the first practice, he just went in the corner when he got ready to turn. This car just something, either obviously a tire failure or a part failure in the right front.
Absolutely a mechanical failure of some sort.
What kinds of things happen here, Steve?
Okay,
the
so
loads are huge here.
So the loads are huge, but the right front's flat. I don't know if the right front is flat from the hit, but what it kind of started to look like is there's a sway bar arm in there, and you load the right front so much that the tire actually deflects. It gets pushed towards the center of the car. And it's very easy for that. There's a bolt down there that connects it. It can rub on that inner sidewall and slowly, literally just cut it like it's in a lathe. And right front goes down, or at least loses enough air that the car goes soft.
Yeah, and Steve knows when we used to do this stuff, you would set your car up and you would move that sway bar arm in and straighten that sway, move it around, and it may be 3 or 4 inches away, and you think, okay, plenty of clearance, and you watch the deflection. It's amazing. It would scare you watching it on a camera.
Yeah, we should be able to see if he pulls this right front tire off on the inside.
Dylan?
Caught up with Dale Earnhardt Jr., who is observing his team cars going out here and making some laps. But you've had a few laps. I know you love this place. You've obviously won here. But what's it like to be back driving at this racetrack?
What a thrill, man. I mean, it's one of a kind. There's nothing like Bristol, and it's already wild enough, and they give you 15 minutes of practice to figure it out. So you're out there drinking through a fire hose, as Latar likes to say, and trying to figure out everything you can and work as fast as you can, emotionally, mentally, and trying to give the crew some information. They got a change or two they might be able to make in this little practice. So it's pretty hectic, but it's fun, man. It's fun strapping in a great race car and going out there and running some hard laps. And hopefully it looks fun enough that Jeff might get out there and do it one day.
Oh, he's calling Jeff out. We'll see if that happens. Junior's third right now, guys.
And I know coming that he was just most nervous of kind of this. He knows he can do it, but, you know, you haven't been in. He wants to get some laps behind him. Once qualifying's behind him, I think he's going to be really settled in and having a great race. That's the inside of the tire right there, KP, and it looks like there is, you see kind of a...
It's rubbed, but it's hard to tell whether it rubbed while it was up or whether it rubbed when it went down. Because you don't see a definitive hole in it right there. I will say this about Junior's first comment. And they throw you in and you get 15 minutes of practice, and then you got to go. Once a driver, always a driver. Complaining because you don't have enough practice or don't have the opportunity you want to make your car drive the way you want.
You can write it down next week. That'll be his talking point. I can't believe they don't have more practice.
Yeah, that's it, man.
They need some more practice.
I agree with Junior on that, man.
He's heard that from Justin Allgaier a few times this year, I am sure. Allgaier, who is in the playoffs, looking very strong, had a lot of speed in that car recently, and a lot of success here. 1 win. It was his first career win in the Xfinity Series. Came here at Bristol.
Look, I mean, 1,000 laps.
Wow.
Led at Bristol. And so what makes that even more just outstanding is that, you know, these aren't 500 lap races, right? You run the Xfinity races, 300 laps at a chunk. So just, he is Mr. Concrete, really. Dover and Bristol really come to mind when I think of Allgaier. And when I looked at the playoff picture, what we kind of started the show with, I think this is the day for the 7. I think this is a great time to kind of plant your flag into this playoff picture, if you know, to prove to everyone that you are here and you're going to have to go through the 7 if you want to make it to the championship 4.
Bristol is his place. I remember here when he came here in the Penske cars when he was driving the Xfinity Series. This was a racetrack that just fit his style of driving.
Jeb Burton's out of his car, Dylan.
And let's see if we can grab him. We're actually on the move just to go to somewhere quiet. Jeb said, let's go over here and find a quiet place so we can hear him. So was it a tire that went down? Is that what happened?
Yeah, it looked like
got a tire rub on the right front. I just hate it. We only got a lap, and it cut the tire down. It definitely bent the front clip, and we're going to have to go to a backup car. So we got to work it out for us, but we'll be all right.
What kind of challenge does that present here, just kind of given what we saw the racetrack do last night, even kind of just focused all around the bottom?
We already had our work cut out for us. Good thing is our Darlington car is up there. It's still got the wrap on it, the Celsius wrap, so we got to change wraps. We got a lot of damn work ahead of us. We're a small team, and it's just a mistake. We missed something, obviously, to cut the inside of the tire was rubbing on something. Just hate it for my guys.
Thanks, Jeb. Going to be a long day ahead for these guys just to get back on the racetrack for the race later.
And Dylan, they're one of the smaller teams, Jordan Anderson Racing, and so they've got fewer resources, but I'm sure they'll get lots of help.
Yeah, lots of help, but what they don't have is an alliance with any sort of cup team.
Yes.
Jeb really pointed that out when we talked to him. You know, you see him down there in 10th already, so he's just below the cut line. Remember, the playoffs really just started. The points you see there are kind of the stage points and wins that they've added in, but no alliance, small team.
Yeah,
I want
to ask you a question. As a crew chief, and you look at a team like this, and you've been in these situations where you got to go to a backup, and everybody wants to say we're going to be okay. We're going to be because of that mental. How do you keep that mental attitude for that team and for everybody?
Well, I think what you have to do is you can't let it become more than it is. It is preparing a car, going to Bristol, getting the thing practiced, getting it qualified. I know that makes it simple, but sometimes simple is good. Like, we've done this all year long, guys. We can't change what we're doing because the playoffs are here. And that's where you could see on the 20s, you know, on Jeb Burton, he was just crushed that, man, of all weeks, this is the week we had to have this little bit of a hiccup.
John Hunter Nemechek on track, second quick. There's the backup for Jeb Burton. Hey, they'll also have to move all the camera equipment over there, too. Remember, we had onboards with him. Back at Bristol, 4 minutes and change remaining for Group B in the Xfinity Series this afternoon. Cut it in half and gave them each 15 minutes of practice time before qualifying. And these two junior motorsports drivers, Josh Berry in the 8 and Sam Mayer here in the 1, had a little some coming together here.
Oh, that's
it's as good as you can do it, right?
Well, that's as good as a few extra feet when you race here at Bristol. You're going to see that a lot.
Yeah, that's a foot. So you just have to go to scale.
Yeah, Sam Mayer in the 1. When we sat down with him this week, he was very to the point that he watched Ty Gibbs and Ty Gibbs' approach last year, and in his own words, raced selfishly. I think that was a compliment or an observation, and I would agree. That's how Ty drove last year in the Xfinity Series, and it took him all the way to a championship. So that method worked, and Sam basically, in a whole bunch more words, but got to the point of, I'm going to drive a little bit more like that. That's going to be my plan in the playoffs.
By the way, you see the blue front splitter and the blue spoilers. That will help identify your playoff series cars. Austin Hill, one of them, second most wins on the season.
If they gave points out for swagger, confidence,
yes,
he would be leading by a mile, because when he sat with us, he was all about the playoffs. Couldn't believe it. He knows he's had a good year, but he can instantly tell you, even the races he won, you know, what they need to do better. And he gives a lot of credit to his pit crew. He says they're the magic sauce when we're not good. Because I say, how do you show up at the end of every race?
Yeah.
And he said, pit stops. They continue to put me in position.
16 is Chandler Smith. Last week, one of the first cars with issues for potential playoff drivers. Had electrical issues, put him in the garage.
Yeah, and the only playoff driver who has never started an Xfinity Series race here. So making his first race and top of the board. That's great feedback. Kate, free entry. So Kyle, explain everyone. You want to turn left, right?
Yes.
The track goes left, but you scared to death to turn because the back kind of gets unloaded into the corner.
And here's the thing about racing, and the thing about a corner on either end of this, or any corner you run in racing, if you can't get in the corner and be comfortable, you can't get off the corner. That's how simple it is. So you're losing time, and he knows if he's a little uncomfortable getting in as he turns in, if he has to wait a nanosecond before he picks up that throttle, he's leaving something out there. So you've got to fix the entry before you can almost fix the exit. And that's a tough thing for a young driver to feel, because most of the time they think, on the gas. I got to fix this thing when I'm on the gas. You got to fix it a lot of times when you're just freewheeling or when you're on the brake setting the car.
That's Kyle Petty, Steve Letarte, Dave Burns with you here. Sammy Smith giving you a tour around the half-mile high banks of Bristol Motor Speedway. Dylan?
So Kyle was just talking about kind of getting around this racetrack. Some interesting radio to Sammy Smith just now. They said, try and make one smooth motion with the wheels. So obviously smoother is faster around these racetracks. That just kind of goes to Kyle's point of you got to fix the entry and you got to be good on the entry. And that starts with the motion that you turn the wheel and then how you hold the wheel through the corners. So a lot of different feedback for these young guys trying to learn their way around this racetrack.
That's great information, Dylan, about, just kind of one smooth move on the wheel. Here we go. We see Sheldon Creed in the 2, passing his teammate, the 21 of Austin Hill. Looking at tire count. So Austin Hill has 38 laps on his tires versus the 2, 29 laps. So still both pretty old.
And exploring, Steve, in that high lane.
Yes.
Yeah, up the track a little bit. It wouldn't shock me to see Cup guys get up there Saturday night. I don't know if the Xfinity guys will get off the bottom or not tonight. And you know what? They don't know either.
That's right.
We talked to them.
That's right.
That's kind of the buzz down in the garage areas. Where's the race going to go?
Yeah, we didn't see it last night in the truck race. And the Cup guys will get up there eventually because they'll be forced up there. But we see Austin Hill. He's been up there for the last 7 or 8 laps, just riding that middle groove. Not all the way up the racetrack. He's not really forced the issue and gone way up, but just enough outside that bottom groove to see what the concrete feels like.
Time expired. Red and black flags out for Group B. Qualifying will take place next here at Bristol Motor Speedway. First car out, Dale Earnhardt Jr. More cars, more thrills, higher stakes. Dom Toretto and his crew are back, and this time they face their deadliest foe. Experience one of the year's biggest movies with Fast X, streaming now exclusively on Peacock. It's a Peacock movie in itself here, racing at Bristol. The top 10 combined from both groups in practice. Chandler Smith, top of the board.
No shock that we see mostly playoff drivers, right? 8 of the 10 yellowed. Yes, because they're in the playoffs. I mean, that's why they're there. Brandon Jones, so close, finished second in the final race. And Trevor Bayne, doesn't run full-time driving a Gibbs car.
Yeah, but you look at the Gibbs car and the Junior Motorsports, no surprise that these guys, even though they're not in the playoffs, are in the top 10.
And we can't wait for the playoffs to start tonight for the Xfinity Series from right here in Bristol.
We're getting ready to rock here at Bristol.
Oh, the double arrow into the fence.
Custard.
Hold on. Oh, man. Is in front of the leaders. Oh,
he catches it.
The whole hub assembly came off of it. Oh, that's a hard thing right there.
Hard the ball hard, Michael Annette. That is drifting at its finest right there for Allgaier.
Whoa, contact right there. Bear's going around.
Nowhere to go for Creed. Allmendinger, Cindric, side by side.
It's going to be A.J. Allmendinger.
I cannot believe what I just saw.
That's why there's people in the grandstands. Bristol, baby, this is what it's all about.
You know, we didn't get every highlight in there, or low light, if you will, but I think we showed at least the same kind of action you'll see here tonight in every instance here on this half mile. It'll start at 7 o'clock for the Xfinity guys. But first, of course, Cup practice and qualifying you'll see this afternoon. And then the racing here tonight, 300 laps. And then tomorrow, the Cup Series, 6:30 new time. Green flag has been changed to 6:35. We'll pop on right at 6:30 to get you set up quickly for the playoff race.
So every Xfinity driver just wants to have a nice, smooth start to the playoffs. Well, let's not forget what's on the line tomorrow night. Yeah. We have Martin Truex Jr., the regular season champ, below the cut line,
yes,
KP.
Below the cut line.
I mean, there's so much pressure.
A champion, so much pressure.
Champion, great point. Dylan, what's happening on pit road?
Let's find out from the man who was fastest in practice. That's Chandler Smith. So it's your first Xfinity start here, but you obviously have had success here in the Truck Series 1 back in 2021. So how much of what you're looking for in the race car translates from car to car at this racetrack?
Everything does. That's what I was just telling a fan earlier. It doesn't matter the vehicle. I've been here in a super late model truck and now an Xfinity car. The approach at what you need to be good here at Bristol's all the same. So I think we're pretty close here in my Barger precast Chevrolet Camaro, but I don't know. I think we got to do a little bit of fine-tuning to make it last, though. I feel like it's a little bit too free right now, so we'll make some good adjustments going into qualifying here.
All right, well, there's more to find for the 16 car, but always encouraging if you're fastest and still looking for a little bit more.
It's always good to be fastest, Dylan. And Kyle Petty, they're getting ready to do 2 laps here. You get in the car, you pull the belts tight. What's it like here?
You know what? It's nerve-wracking because this racetrack can change. This racetrack can be a little bit different. Going out first like Dale Jr. is, that is the worst position to be in for me. I never wanted to be the first car out on a racetrack, especially because it's been 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes since he's been out there, whatever it's been. He's got to go out and lay down 2 laps, and he's got to qualify. He's got to make this race. So that's a little bit added pressure for somebody like Dale Jr. And he doesn't do this every week. These other guys do it week in and week out. They're in a little bit of that race rhythm.
And just because of who he is and his resume, 2 Daytona 500s, back-to-back championships in the Xfinity Series, don't think he isn't sitting there with some anxiety. This is the lap that he has been talking about all week. This moment right here is what's been on his mind. He knew he had to be first out. He knows this track changes. You're going to see a big smile on this guy's face regardless where he qualifies once he's fast enough to make sure he's racing.
Dale Jr. getting ready to take the green and qualify at Bristol.
I think what you're going to see is a relatively conservative first lap. No big movements, right around the bottom.
Car looks good. Just wrapping the bottom.
Now I think he can kind of pick up the pace right now. He said, all right, I got 1 behind me. Now let's see what this thing can do on the second lap. That 15.92 should be more than enough. That's faster than we've seen in practice. This radio is going to be a bit of relief, I believe, when he gets this lap time. He's not going to like that lift, but they're going to tell him that first lap was good enough.
Oh, even better.
Great job.
15.91. Second lap was fast. You're going to pit off at turn 4. Watch for the official point you to go. All right, that ought to do it. That should get us in. I think a mid-16.20 did it last time.
My man knew the lap time from last time. He knew what he had to run. You were at 15.9. Like, think about it. Not loose, not tight. First words. That should do it. That's going to get like so. That's what the fans love about him, right? He's here, and he just wants to be in this race. It's a great time. Speaking about being in the race, Raja making his first Xfinity Series start as well. 7 of them took to the track today. He was one of them.
Had a great run in the Truck Series last night, finished 6th. That ties his career best.
Yes, he did. Drove a smart race last night. If you watch the race, he set guys up, he put them in position, got around them, learned a lot last night that hopefully he'll bring to this race tonight.
And I would think, like you guys talked earlier, this would be a driver who would say it's going to be fun to race with Dale Jr. because I watched him growing up.
Absolutely.
Right?
Hey, sorry, Dale, but they all watched you growing up. I mean, some of these kids haven't even really grown up.
I'm not going to say anything, Dale. I'm not going to say anything.
I get that a lot. Mr. Burns, I watched you growing up. Yeah.
Well,
okay,
Raja's 21, right? So you talk about a 21-year-old racing against a 48-year-old Dale Earnhardt Jr. That's just, it's great. It's a great opportunity.
Timmy Hill taking to the track now. 3rd car going out in qualifying. Again, around the track to come to the green. 2 fast laps at Bristol to put your car on the grid for tonight's show. Dylan.
Caught up with Sam Mayer. So you told a couple of our NBC guys this week that in these playoffs, you're going to kind of race selfish. You're going to do whatever you have to do to take care of yourself. How do you apply that mentality to the race tonight?
Yeah, I mean, tonight's probably one of those most of those nights that you're going to see that most apparent, and I think we're in a good spot. I think our car's okay. I wouldn't say it's as fast as Xfinity 10G yet, but I think that as the sun comes to us and the night falls, I think we'll be in a good spot.
All right, that's encouraging for Sam Mayer, getting ready to qualify in just a little bit.
See a little smoke coming out of Timmy Hill's car. There was a little smoke out of the 35 of Patrick Emmerling earlier. We were just told that his team car, the 53 of B.J. McLeod, has been withdrawn. So, Steve, we had 39 cars for 38 positions. Dale Jr. was on the edge because his car didn't have a lot of points. He had to qualify well. He qualified well, but now it's 38 for 38.
So he's locked in, and I assume this 53, you mentioned Patrick Emmerling, right? He had a little damage as well, so maybe they have to withdraw this because we're not sure Patrick has a backup. So we talked about, limited resources. They're managing stuff down there, KP, that you and I just have been fortunate enough not to have to manage in most of our careers.
It's a different kind of race. I'll say this for Junior. I would be mad at the 53 for making me worry all week and then withdrawing at the last minute. I would be upset about that.
9th Xfinity start of the season for Josh Bilicki, and it almost wasn't. Big save coming out of 4.
And that's what every driver is afraid of. It just goes away so quick. He's going to try to put it back together. Unfortunately, off turn 4, it hurts lap 1 and lap 2.
You can see his time compared to Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s. It's not going to be close to that, but it will be second quick on the day.
Big slide right here, KP.
Yeah, so for you fans at home, when a car comes off the corner and you can read the door number and you're looking straight at it, that's a big moment in the driver's seat.
Gets it corrected and now rolls back in. No damage done. That's the best news there. Stephen Parsons, we mentioned earlier. Most of his starts this season, he's not a full-time driver. Most have been in this 07 car for SS Greenlight Racing. Takes the green.
He had run a 16.30 in practice. Ooh, a little tail happy as well.
Just a little up out of the groove coming off of turn 2 right there.
He's still going to improve on his practice time at a 21.
See if he gathers it together. A little bit more speed on lap 2. Can he move up the grid?
One thing I love about short tracks when I was a crew chief is that, you know, it was, so we see so many big high-speed tracks and you can see your car off in the distance, but not really what it's doing. When we come to these short tracks, you could stand right on pit wall. You could even walk down in the middle of the corner and watch your car. And I can watch that left front tire and see how it's working. I can see how great the splitter either looks or how bad the splitter looks as far as, you know, a good aero platform. Yep. I'm a little old school. Like, I have to be able to see it.
And listen, so many times as a young driver, when I would go to the racetrack and come to a short track, and Bristol was a perfect example, you'd walk down in between 1 and 2 and watch the way the veteran drivers got down in the corner, watch their hands on the wheel, watch what they did. And you can learn so much at a short track, especially like Bristol, for these young drivers, watching what a Justin Allgaier does, watching what an Austin Hill does in the corner to up your game.
Kyle Weatherman right up against the wall there as he completed lap number 1, 4th quick. 20th start of the season for him tonight here at Bristol.
We missed him to start the year. He didn't go to Daytona or California to kick it off, but he's been at the last 7 in a row, so it's great to see him getting the opportunity week in and week out.
And getting that rhythm then, I mean, it's you just can't come and go and hope to be in rhythm.
Listen, nothing's better than seat time, and you don't get seat time sitting at home watching it on TV. As you hear him talking, right? You know, and it's like Steve. If you bring Steve to 10 races and then set him at home for 10 races, it takes him a race or two to get back in the rhythm of what it is to call a race, how to do things. Every position on every team is that way. Whether you're a tire guy, a driver, you need to be here every week doing it.
And I will double down that this one is like no other that you call, and not because the decisions are harder, they're just quicker.
Yeah.
Everything literally happens here very quickly. Pit road opens in turn 2. Just, I mean, everything you have to decide on kind of hits you right away. Good lap from Joe Graff Jr., second. Oh, sounded like it might have hit the ground.
That's what I was thinking.
There.
Graff driving for RSS Racing. You saw him in the 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing last weekend. He'll have one more race with them. The rest of the season filled out with this group, and a good time for Graff here at Bristol. Fast time so far goes to the man who the fans may be coming to see tonight, Dale Earnhardt Jr. back behind the wheel. We'll talk to him when we come back. Blaine Perkins taking the green flag. This will be his first Xfinity Series start at Bristol Motor Speedway.
Yeah, right along the apron. I like close, but you got to be a little careful. You don't want to get too much of that left front tire on it.
Yeah.
Paint is slick, Steve, is what you're telling us?
Well, and just the transition is so abrupt that it kind of pulls that. You know, everybody's done it. Like, you know, when you drive down construction and one lane's higher than the other and you kind of catch that lane and your car kind of has this uncomfortable moment, the transitions are so tough here, you kind of get some of that same.
That's a great way to explain it.
6
for
good.
I don't really know what to do here. I'm just having to overdrive the car way too much. Way too tight.
Dylan.
Well, Steve knows his driver pretty well. I told Dale that the good news that he's in the show, and his first words were, well, I wish somebody would have told me that earlier. I'd have been a heck of a lot more relaxed. So job one's done now. How do you approach tonight? There's 12 guys with a lot on the line tonight. You have your own expectations. So how do you manage all that?
Now that I don't have to sweat out trying to make the race, and that's all out of the way, you can start really focusing on the balance of the car and what we've tried to learn and what we might be able to do between now and the race. But I obviously hope the track goes to the top at some point. I love running the high line. Running around on the bottom, it's slick. Your back's chattering, the front's chattering, and in dirty air, it's going to do all those things worse. So trying to be really patient. I sat up there and watched the truck race last night and learned a lot watching the truck race, watching drivers make those mistakes driving out of the grip and how much that hurt their lap. So I learned a lot. Now I just got to go out there and apply it. We got a good lap there in qualifying, and we can have some fun and race tonight. I just don't want to ruin anything for anybody for the championship. Go out there, have fun, and run all the laps.
I know you want to win, but if push comes to shove at the end of this, how aggressive are you willing to be against some of the guys, maybe even guys in the playoffs?
You don't have long enough time for me to answer you on that one. It's a lot. There's a lot to think about, right? And you just definitely don't want to affect anybody's opportunity to race for a championship. It's not what I'm here for. I don't want to be in that. I don't want to be in the news next week about all that. And but we do want to have fun, run good. You know, I mean, that's a risk versus reward, and you got to be smart. There's a lot of guys out there that there's a lot of cars that have worked all year long to get in this position. You certainly don't want to be any reason why they can't move forward into the next round.
Thanks, Dale. It's an Earnhardt 1-2 right now, guys.
And that slide from Chad Fincham was large enough that it got Dale's attention during the interview.
Yes, it did. Yes, it did. Take a picture of your TV screen right now with 2 Earnhardts on the front row. So let's make sure we've got that.
Looks good. Chad Fincham from just down the road in Knoxville considers this his home race and kept it off the wall.
Big slide. Did a nice job. What Dale said, I think, is true.
Yeah.
Look, if he has just a great car and he can drive up there and drive away from the front of this thing, he's going to try to win the race. But if we see a green-white checker and he's in row 3 or 4, I think you're going to see a guy be super respectful, even if it costs him 5 spots. Right? Yes. I think he's gonna be like, I am going to give everybody the benefit of the doubt here. You heard him. This isn't what he's here to do. He doesn't want to upset. Now listen, he'll take the spot if he can. Yeah. Not at ruining someone's play.
But he's been on both sides of that coin. He's been in the playoffs and been in that thing in that situation where he needed somebody to give him a break, just to let him in the corner, whatever it may be. And listen, he talks about these guys have worked all year long. Man, that's out of shape right there. And he talks about these guys have worked all year long to have this opportunity. He's not going to put himself in that way. That's Dale Earnhardt Jr. talking as an owner too, because he's got a couple of cars in that. He's got a couple of cars. Here's what I like about Dale Jr. We can get him at the front of the grid and he can do interviews all day long, but you put him on the other side, he sounds just like a driver. He reverts right back to the same terminology, the same voice, the same stuff, the way he talks about a car.
Dylan, you've caught up with Daniel Hemrick, I believe.
I haven't. He's been in the news today already, going back full-time Cup racing next year. So, first of all, congratulations on that. But what kind of Xfinity car do you got today?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, as far as the Circle Chevrolet, it's not quite as fast as Xfinity 10G yet, but try to walk here and not get ran over. I feel okay about it. We just too loose there initially. There's a place where you really got to be able to attack, and to carry the middle, like when the bottom's in, you got to have a lot of regular capability. And we don't have that yet, but we're going to tune it up here, at least get through qualifying and be able to go to work for our final adjustment, see if we can build into it.
All right, he's got a couple other Kaulig cars to watch and learn from as well.
I thought Daniel was very, very realistic and had a good approach to the playoffs. He was very honest about where they were on the speed.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, on our best days, perhaps we have the speed to outrun a Gibbs car, a Junior Motorsports car, an RCR car. But we know we have to just be more efficient. We have to just make fewer mistakes. He is a champion. He has to use that experience to just, you know, let the points come to him. You can't go out and chase them if you don't have the car fast enough to do it.
Well, last week, Steve, 2 of the Kaulig cars had issues, you know, big-time issues, and so that's huge. They're both in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's that entire organization has had more gremlins than you would like to see out of a company that does have the funding to buy new parts and enough personnel, and those are uncomfortable situations. When you talk electrical, like those are weird.
Yeah, that's weird stuff, man. You can take a car apart and never find that.
Anthony Alfredo with a nice save there between 1 and 2, finishing up his second lap here. And that will be 10th fastest. Dylan.
Sammy Smith is a couple spots or a couple points out of the playoff cut line right now. So the results for you guys the last few weeks have kind of been in a bit of a backslide. How difficult is this place to turn that around and get the momentum going back in the right direction?
Yeah, for sure. This is probably one of my favorite racetracks. So excited to be here for the first round of the playoffs with Pilot Flying J Driver Appreciation Week on the car. So hopefully we got a fast car here and we go out and get it qualified.
NASCAR does a lot of good here at Bristol. Sammy Smith going to try and get his starting position up front today.
They had one last week in qualifying, Dylan, second fast at Kansas, but was involved in a wreck which had him finishing 35th, or not finishing, as it were. Here's Ryan Sieg, the third of the 3 RSS racing cars. Older brother of Kyle, who you saw qualify in earlier in the 28.
He's trending in the green. Can he get it on corner exit? Oh, that was really well done. Woo. Big corner. 79 at a Sieg.
Well played.
That was very well done. Last time he got his career best finish. Finished 10th.
Yeah, pretty good there. Wasn't tight nor loose. So.
Here's a team, and we talk about this sometimes, and you talked about it a little bit earlier. Here's a driver and team that get the most out of everything they put on the racetrack. Every week, he gets the most out of that car. They never leave anything on the table. You can watch every race they run. They get the most out of everything.
Didn't make the playoffs this year, did Ryan Sieg, but we'll see if they can make some noise in the final 7 races. There's Ryan Ellis.
It's a good looking. It's got Channel Lock vibes. Remember the Channel Lock car, kind of the lines and stuff has that. It's a good looking 43 car though.
He was in the green momentarily, but had to pick it up coming off the corner there. And for Ryan Ellis, 5th fast. Good lap for the 43, Dylan.
Cole Custer is another one of the playoff drivers getting set to go in qualifying. So you've got the Kevin Harvick throwback Mobil 1 scheme on here. Are you going to try to channel some Harvick energy to get this thing to the front today?
That's the plan. I mean, I felt like our guys, JT and everybody, did a great job on the car there in practice. And I think we're solid. We have a pretty good Mobil 1 Ford Mustang, but hopefully just get it that little bit better. I think we can still get it that little bit that we need, but I feel like we're going to have something to fight with.
That's a good-looking race car. A lot of nice things being done for Kevin. I don't think you can compliment him more than a familiar paint scheme that he ran a lot.
Kevin's going to look at you though, and he's going to want that thing up front.
Yeah, that's it.
So you're going to drive my scheme. You can't be running in.
That's right.
I think Custer has a good chance to run well.
I think you're right.
If you're going to throw back to victory lane.
I think
that's what he's trying to say.
It was a big week for Connor Mozak. He got a big circle track win in the ARCA race last week at Kansas.
11th quick here. The 24 is in the show.
People talk about SVG and these different guys and how quick they're going to learn on the ovals. I really look at Connor Mozak as kind of an example. This is a road racing type driver who has made the shift to stock cars and the series. And like I said, he won the ARCA race, and I think you're going to see just how hard it is to learn these ovals because the details are so small.
Yeah, it's a different art form, and driving is an art in a lot of ways, and especially road racing, to understand where to brake, how deep to drive, the apexes of the corner. But that's totally different than driving an oval, getting into the corner. I had a road course teacher that came and did it one year. He taught myself, Earnhardt, Ricky Rudd, a couple guys, and he said, man, you got to drive in the corner till you see God, and then you let off and then you go again. And that's the difference between road racing and oval racing.
To the checkers for Riley Herbst. What does he have? That'll be best for third right now. Cars still remaining to qualify. Autographs to be signed. And don't forget, tomorrow night for the 500 laps here at Bristol, the time has changed. 6:30 on air on USA, 6:35 green flag tomorrow. RCR teammates discussing things about to happen for them on track, qualifying their cars into tonight's 300-lap race here at Bristol Motor Speedway, Creed and Hill. This is Jeremy Clements. You look at the records, and a lot of drivers have, Truck Series starts and Cup Series starts, and Jeremy Clements just has a whole page of Xfinity Series starts here.
Tons of experience behind the wheel. We'll See if the experience pays off here in qualifying. He had run a 16.26. So big pickup from practice already.
Fourth quick on lap 1.
457 starts to be specific.
They do so much. We talked earlier about Seek doing so much. These guys do so much with what they've got.
He was in the green momentarily there. Didn't miss it by much. Second for Jeremy Clements.
That's a good lap. Very good lap.
Yes.
Dylan has Justin Allgaier.
That's right, and he has been so close here at Bristol lately to getting a win. So what would the significance of finally getting one done here be to you and this playoff run?
Well, maybe now that it's the start of the playoffs, maybe that's just what we needed to finally win a race here at Bristol. But, you know, to get my first win here and then to lead as many laps as we've led and to not be able to win since is disheartening, but it's not for lack of effort. I'm really just proud of the effort of everybody at Junior Motorsports. I feel like our Brent Fresh Gold car was really good, and in practice there, we obviously want to qualify good here, but the most important part is getting our Camaro to victory lane later this afternoon.
All right, Justin's got to go qualify. By the way, you see the helmet on the top of the door. That's always designed by his daughter, Harper, during the playoffs. The back of it this year says, "It's your year, Dad. Go get it." So maybe it's his year at Bristol as well.
He does have one win back here in 2010 in the Xfinity Series, but never for Junior Motorsports.
Yeah, well, and we showed earlier he's led over 1,000 laps. So yeah, one win feels like 0 because it could be 5 or 6 or 7, just in position to win so many races, as we see 92 at Josh Williams finishing his lap, clocks in at 7.
Too tight, just a tick over 16 seconds.
And back to Allgaier, you know, you couldn't, you know, make up different ways to lose this race.
Yes.
We've seen broken upper control arms, a burned up hub, a run-in with a teammate, flat tires, pit stop issues, his own mistakes.
Yeah, he's about to the end of that list.
You would
would think he would be.
They even had an engine failure in there. Like, you don't think that's at Bristol. I mean, he's found about every way.
This is Kaz Grala.
Now, this paint scheme has me last year Cup race Chase Elliott vibes. That was the color scheme of that 9 car. It was, I watched that one this week, and him and Kevin Harvick had some words. Kaz looking pretty good.
Nice run for the Sam Hunt Racing driver. That will put him, where will it put him? It'll put him 16th. About mid-pack here. 38 cars will start tonight. Already had one withdrawal. That locked Dale Earnhardt Jr. into the field, though his qualifying lap was certainly good enough, and certainly still is good enough. He's in the top 3 right now.
We saw earlier the 27 of Jeff Burton have an issue. This is his teammate, the 31, Parker Retzlaff. Both drive for Jordan Anderson. I talked to Jordan's son. He entered that Daytona race. Yeah. Driver owner, Larry Mack, his father-in-law, on top of the pit box, and he showed me a picture on his phone. He said, look, right here, look. One of his cars was spinning, the other car was moving left, and he was going between him. He goes, none of us hit anything, but that could have been a really expensive moment for me. He had a big smile. It really meant something for Jordan to be out there racing with the 2 cars that he owns.
Parker Retzlaff has been impressive lately. See what he can do here on the second lap as we head down to Dillon.
And caught up with Sheldon Creed just before he gets set to climb aboard the Whelen Chevrolet. So you guys have been so close this year to get into victory lane. I know you need a win now, but what would the significance be of getting it done here at this place?
Yeah, I mean, just a win, you know, the first round of the playoffs would be huge. And for it to be at Bristol would be pretty special. But fired off a little free there at the beginning of practice, and I felt like we just got better and better. We worked on it a little bit and thought, you know, we were pretty racy at the end of the run. So hoping we can clean up the short run speed a little bit here and qualifying here. So just hope we can clean it up a little bit. And yeah, I think we have a pretty good Whelen Chevrolet for tonight.
Thanks, Sheldon. Sheldon's always a guy, if the racing surface and groove moves around, he's not shy about experimenting. So I think that'll pay some dividends for him if it does that later tonight.
Yeah, I think you're right, Dylan. We'll just have to wait and see what that top line does. Again, they put some sticky stuff around the bottom line. Steve, it just has to, it takes a while for that to become not the best line.
Yeah, the idea is that if the track had no prep at all, the top would dominate. It just has a little more banking, and it just
really, really loose.
Very loose for Brett Moffitt, you see. Yeah. So they put a little bit of the sticky stuff around the bottom, and they know that will wear out. It's just when does it, how does it. So we were talking earlier about Dale Jr. being a rhythm driver. Well, Sheldon Creed, he's more, in my opinion, of the artistic type drivers, right? Not a rhythm guy. He every corner is kind of lets the car do what it wants to do, takes the feedback from the car. That's why I think he's so good at Darlington. That's why I think he will be good here if the groove moves around. I'm still pretty shocked he hasn't won a race yet.
Yeah, so you're saying he reacts to what the car gives him and then goes from there. And that's a great way, because there's two different approaches from a driver's perspective. There's that aggressive driver, there's a laid-back driver, and as Steve said, there's that driver that just reacts to what the car gives him, gets up on the wheel and drives it, and then makes an adjustment from there.
14th on lap 1 for Derek Kraus. He was the best finishing colleague racing car last weekend at Kansas with a top 10. He was 8th.
I'm almost settled on this number swap here. Derek Kraus, if I call him Daniel Hemrick, I apologize, but Hemrick's been in the 11. We talked about the sticky stuff. Well, the other thing that you have to do with these concrete tracks is, look at this. This is scraping kind of the rubber off from the truck race. I mean, look at that rubber is built up like a cushion, like a dirt track. That is a lot of rubber you put down. Well, that's going to happen again. And then as a race car driver, you got to decide, do I straddle that? Do I left's below it, right's above it? Do I put my tires in it? And you got LaJoy out there. That's my kind of move right there. That's how I would do it.
Yeah, he's just trying to feel it to see where it's at and where it stops and starts.
Brandon Jones in the 9 car for Junior Motorsports, not in the playoffs, didn't make it. Too big a deficit going into the cutoff race last week to make it on points. But boy, he gave it a shot, came home second, did everything he could. But John Hunter Nemechek dominated the day.
He did, and I'm just surprised they hadn't won. It wouldn't shock me if they win before the season's over, even though they're not in the playoffs.
A lot of laps led here at Bristol for Brandon Jones. So tonight could be that night. There's going to be some driver, KP, that's not in the playoffs that's going to upset the apple cart one time at least.
Yeah, and listen, as we've looked at the Xfinity Series this year, there's guys like Brandon Jones that haven't won. There's guys that are below that line. Listen, Parker Kligerman has not won, even though he's in the playoffs. But as you look at it, there are teams right now that are poised to win races, and we've just been waiting for him to do it all year. So why not win in the playoffs? I think some of these guys can.
Well, today they announced Brandon Jones returning. Yes. Sam Mayer, we already have heard, is returning. We know that the driver of the 8 is leaving Junior Motorsports, but starting to get a little bit more information.
Yep. The driver in the 88 for Junior Motorsports will be back next year.
Dale Jr. and his sister Kelly working things out there for JRM, which has become a real factor in the Xfinity Series. Low these many years now. Start out very small, now a multi-car team.
Costly slide for Sam Mayer. We'll see if he can correct.
Ooh,
oh boy.
Another one.
Same place almost.
And still fourth quick.
He was running that, you know.
This is just in that transition, and Steve talked about it a minute ago. You drop your left tires, left front, below that line. It just unloads the car, and it just gives it up, puts everything on the right rear, and it steps out from under you.
All right, I got it figured out. This is Hemrick in the
There we go.
Yeah, Daniel was into the playoffs as a driver on points. The 11 car, though, or the 10 car was not. I'll get it all screwed up, but basically they wanted to put the veteran driver in the 10, so they put their sim and less experienced driver in the 11 for colleague.
I'm more confused now than I was when you started.
I'm just going to stop talking.
Yeah, so, but here's the thing, and Steve, it's interesting. It's hard enough to keep up with the paint jobs. But when they change paint jobs and numbers, then we're all lost.
Well, I'm going to clear it up. Fast time for Hemrick. That's what I do know.
There
10,
we go.
11, whatever car number he wants. That thing's first.
Here come all the playoff drivers now, getting their qualifying laps in. I showed you the top 10 earlier from practice. It was almost all playoff drivers, as you'd expect.
It's hard to judge kind of what this one's going to be in the playoffs. A lot of speed. Has had his fair share of issues this year.
Has had his fair share of issues that he's created for himself. This is where he has to clean it up as a driver. We know the team. We know that they're capable of running up front and winning races. He's just got to get that mindset. I'm in the playoffs now. I'm fighting for a championship.
Well, and at 19, he's the youngest of the playoff drivers.
And a rookie in this series, Steve, right? So.
Oh, like we've never seen a rookie win a championship or races before. But what, you put yourself in this pressure situation.
Second for Sammy Smith. More qualifying coming up for Bristol. Who will be on the pole tonight?
Tennessee comes calling. I can feel it in my bones.
It's Bristol, baby. 2 nights of racing here from the world's fastest half-mile Xfinity Series tonight, and tomorrow night at 6:30, the Cup Series in their next playoff race. This is Chandler Smith. He's in the Xfinity Series playoffs, and he was fastest in practice.
He backs it up. 15.75 will put him at the top of the board on his first lap. We'll see if he can improve.
Yes, he does. 100th faster on the second lap. Get in the game with NASCAR Fantasy Live. Create an entry to compete by picking 5 drivers plus a garage driver. Fantasy Live will let you keep tabs on your lineup and make in-race adjustments to maximize your score. Visit NASCAR.com/fantasy to start. Steve Letarte, that makes me think of a question. What's the earliest in a race you've gone to the garage for your fantasy lineup?
Well, that could be last week. Basically, lap 3 when Truex's right rear tire. I had to go to my garage.
There you have it. It can be early. Just be ready. Have a backup plan in mind. Trevor Bayne on track. He's from Knoxville. He races part-time, and he races very well in this 19 car for Joe Gibbs Racing. Oh, and by the way, he and Ashton are parents once again.
Congratulations.
Yep.
5 on their 5th child.
Love it. Love the big family. Trevor is going to find himself in 8th position, but you can win from there. 300 laps tonight. It's a lot going to happen in 300 laps here.
Yeah, and he's kind of like in the same situation that Dale Jr. is. Runs 2 or 3 races a year, 4 or 5 races a year. But we know he can win. He's running the top 10 up here. It's been a while since he's run a race here. Won the Daytona 500. He can compete any week in and week out, and has done really well in this car at some of the speedways he's run.
Here's a good look at that throwback paint scheme honoring Kevin Harvick in Mobil 1 that Cole Custer is running this weekend. That is good looking. Is it fast? Oh yeah, he's in the green.
Wow, a 68. 100's clear.
That's big.
That is big.
That's big on a short track.
I'm wondering this week if Custer was going to come out swinging for the playoffs, and it looks like it from his qualifying run.
He was an interesting playoff driver to talk to because, you remember, he was a Cup driver, a Cup winner, and came down here, and we had some conversations about that specifically, and he said he's learned a lot this year, learned a lot about himself, learned a lot about things he could have done differently when he was at the Cup level. And he did make it noted. He said, I love being in Xfinity, but I want to be in Cup, and which I appreciate. Some guys are afraid to make that statement.
Right.
He wasn't. Not taking anything away from his group. He said he loves racing with them, but he doesn't hide from the fact that he wants to be a Sunday driver.
Yeah, and here's a guy, Justin Allgaier, who's exactly the opposite, who has found a home here. More like we used to see with a Tommy Houston and a Tommy Ellis and a Sam Ard. Those guys found their way in the beginning of the Busch Series, and they found their place in this series, and this is where they stayed. Justin Allgaier has done the same.
A little smoke there, Steve. Is that a tire rub?
I think it's a left rear rubbing a little bit on the quarter panel. So what can happen is you got to make adjustments to put tape on the front of these cars. 8th for Allgaier. I thought it'd be a little quicker. You know, maybe one of those adjustments got that left rear to rub.
Parker Kligerman getting ready to qualify here. His owner, Scott Borchetta, in the playoffs, but also involved in a huge wreck at the wheel of a Trans Am car earlier this year at Road Atlanta. It was life-threatening, to say the least. When he talks about his journey, he talks about his Evel Knievel-like list of injuries, and we all know what Knievel went through in his career. Scott is okay. We saw him at track at Kansas to witness Parker racing his way into the playoffs. It's a great story of recovery. Now we're going to see what Big Machine Racing can do in the playoffs.
Well, we talk a lot about the drivers, the team, the manufacturers, but we have to have owners, people that are committed. And Scott spends a lot of his own money or his company's money by marketing on this 48 car. And it's great to see guys like him in this sport, right? And they're doing a nice job with Parker in this 48. Work their way into the playoffs.
Listen, I think Parker has just overperformed this year in just about everything. And you talked about Cole Custer going back down, coming from the Cup Series back to the Xfinity Series, and learning so much about himself and coming back as a better driver. Parker Kligerman is the same kind of guy who he was out of racing for long enough that he understood it, he looked at it different, and came back into it with a different attitude, and has paid off for it.
He's not going to be happy with that qualifying lap. Remember last week after the race, he talked about his team and what a high level they've been executing at. Not saying he can't do well from there, but it's not quite as far forward as he was hoping. Josh Berry for Junior Motorsports on track now.
Ooh, that car looks way out of the racetrack. The front landed and definitely changed directions. The back just chased the back through the whole corner.
Down low in 1 and 2. Kind of straddled the line last time in 3 and 4. You got a little bit of that again, but man, flashes briefly green.
88 first lap. Good job, man.
12th. Second, sorry. That's what I thought. I thought it was a better lap tracking that way.
And that is a driver who made adjustments on the fly. He went into turn 3. He got out of shape the first time. In his mind, he's thinking, I've got to adjust and make something better the next time. And you see the big pickup that he has. That's Josh Berry understanding what his car was giving him and adjusting to it.
Sheldon Creed, you saw him talking to Dylan earlier. I love the look when a car went by, and I think he said it's so cool racing qualifying at Bristol. Some kind of speed the two has. It's a little wobble on the bottom.
Yeah. It has been interesting that we haven't seen as many cars bobble in 1 and 2 as we have in 3 and 4. It's like they're trying to make everything up to get back to the white flag or back to the checkered flag.
I have some major concerns about this two-car speed. If he can't find some,
get back to the white flag or back to the checkered flag.
I have some major concerns about this two-car speed. If he can't find some better lap, that first lap was 30th, and that second lap only good for 20th. I know of the playoff cars, Jeb Burton had an accident, so he's going to start at the back, but a pretty big gap between him and the rest of the playoff cars. It just seems like it's kind of on top of the racetrack, dancing in the back. I mean, we're talking a 16 flat. That's over 3/10 off Custer. Playoff cars 1 through 5. A couple others inside the top 10, with Allgaier Mayer being 9th and 10th. And now here sits Creed 20th. We'll see if his teammate has something different.
That's right, Austin Hill, teammate to Sheldon Creed. Certainly know what each other have in terms of setup and everything, but boy, he's bounced out of the groove right there.
Yeah, he got down in 1, hit the middle. The car didn't rotate, and he had to go up the racetrack to follow it.
This is not going to be a good lap for the 21 either. He's going to have to find something different on lap 2. Can he make those adjustments you just talked about?
Yeah.
High exit of turn 2. Dives it back down toward the line. It holds, but is it fast?
Nope, not fast enough.
Yeah, I don't know.
25th for Austin Hill.
I don't know what these two cars did in 1 and 2, but they didn't change directions the way they needed to. Either one of the Childress cars.
Yeah, I mean that's just not good and not what we have come to expect out of either the 2 or the 21.
That's right. The drivers we know can qualify up front.
Well, an RCR can put together fast cars, so something seems to be amiss in those 2 cars qualifying.
John Hunter Nemechek tried to brush off questions about his team being the favorite going into the playoffs this week, Steve, but Man, after 6 wins and a dominating win last week at Kansas, they sure look like it.
They absolutely listen to the throttle.
Third on lap 1. What did he learn?
Yeah, the tracker, don't get too focused on that. It has some sort of issue, but just listen to the throttle. I like that.
Does he do it? Time. It's only going to be good enough for third.
But that's mission accomplished. They don't want errors.
That is. That's right.
Third will do it, and good run by Cole Custer.
25-year-old Californian is on the pole at Bristol. Dylan?
And it's his 5th pole this year and 3rd at Bristol. So is there a racetrack in the playoffs where track position early in the night holds more value than it does here?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, this is exactly how we wanted to start the playoffs off. You know, getting good traction here to start, hopefully get some good stage points. But can't say enough about this group of guys. They've really worked their guts out this week, putting all they can into the playoffs, and they've really executed today good. So hopefully keep this Mobile One Ford Mustang up front, give Kevin a good run, and hopefully start the playoffs strong.
Yeah, starting them off well so far. Cole Custer will lead the Xfinity field to green in just a little while.
KP, pretty impressive.
That was impressive. When we look at these rundowns here, this guy on a Ford just goes out and gets it done. But you saw right there, he's had previous poles here. This is a racetrack that you have to enjoy running to run well here. Dale Jr. enjoys running well here, or running here. Justin Allgaier enjoys running here. If you like this racetrack, you're going to take it to another notch as a driver. And we saw Cole Custer do that in qualifying.
Custer gets a little momentum with the pole. That's real. Playoff cars, Barry, Nemechek, Chandler Smith, Sammy Smith, Hemrick, all inside the top 6. No harm, no foul. Everything going to be great there. Allgaier and Mayer, okay. It's Creed and Hill that I'm the most concerned about. The 2 RCR cars, both outside the top 20. Now, I think they're going to be okay in the race, but can they get there safely, right? Or will they get caught up in somebody else's mess? That's the question. And poor Jeff Burton, we didn't get to see qualifying. Remember, 1 lap, and he had that flat tire. So a lot of storylines later on in the race.
There's a lot going on between the top 10 and the back of the field as the race gets going here this evening. Again, 300 laps tonight. It'll be fun to see. That'll be at 7 o'clock tonight. We'll have Countdown to Green, followed by the Xfinity Series first playoff race. Cup Series practice and qualifying a little bit later on. And, of course, tomorrow, 500 laps around the world's fastest half mile. That'll begin at a new time. 6:30 will be on air on USA, 6:35 for the green flag. Cole Custer on pole. Parker Kligerman with a little bit of work to do. Chandler Smith, his car fast as well. And there will be issues tonight as Dale Earnhardt Jr. returns to the Xfinity Series to race the high banks at Bristol. Speaking of Dale Jr., enjoy the Dale Jr. download next. His guest, Matt Kenseth. For Steve, Dylan, and KP, I'm Dave. Thanks for joining us.